Morning, Greg.
Morning, David.
It's weird.
When you try to hit start and it doesn't start when you think it's going to start.
No, like that started. Like it's like when it starts and you're like, "Good morning, Greg. Good morning, David." We've been talking for like an hour.
That's true.
I mean, it's not a
You're
surprise that
not.
we're showing up.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's for Dominic's sake, though. We got to keep the
Well,
illusion
he, he
alive.
he's always the first one here,
Well, that's
and
because it's
he saw that I apparently can't type at all in the morning. I have had no caffeine, and I can't type at the best of times. David knows this, so.
I mean, typing's one of them things that it's hard. Typing's hard.
Oh man, I should have taken typing class in high school. I really should have.
So like, I think I did,
Well,
but
see, our
by the time
typing
I took it,
class,
it wasn't typing.
this is how dated I am.
Yeah,
Our typing class, our typing teacher still used typewriters.
clickety 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 clickety.
Well, I think they were electric,
Oh,
but they like we had two computer labs, or well,
mm-hmm.
one computer lab and one kind of advanced computer lab with a mini computer in it,
Mm.
mini mainframe or whatever,
Yeah.
with trackballs and stuff. It was kind of cool. Um, but I didn't take typing and I should have.
it's it was one of those things that was like, I don't know if I want to, and now it's like the most important daily
It's a
thing.
very, very good skill to have.
Uh huh.
And I really should have done it. And I
It's
should
like
have like
in
put
the
some effort into it.
in the 90s when everybody's like, "Hey, how many words per minute you type?" You're like, "I don't know," and I don't care. Now it's like,
5.
now it's like they just assume you can type. It's not even a question.
It's like, do you know how to use Word and Excel?
Yeah,
Yes.
they do. Dominic says I'm retired, so I'm always here. I mean,
We're
fair.
not retired, but we're always here.
Yeah, yeah. Um. Well, let's flip the screen. We'll do the thing here quick. Greg, do you want
All
to do the
righty.
thing?
I
Go
can do
for
the
it.
thing. I want to thank all these wonderful people, Hilge at the top, and everyone else. Thank you so much for supporting us. If you'd like to join us and contribute in our lovely Discord, you can join us at patreon.com/3dmakeit. And at any of the tiers you sign up for, you get access to our wonderful Discord where we have nice discussions and sneak peeks at things that are coming up that are super super secret and some that are not so super secret. And yeah, so and anything else you need to find, you can go to www.3dmakeit.ca.
He did so
Yeah.
good with that. Oh, my clapping button doesn't work. I was clapping for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you. Um, Actually, no, thank them. Wow.
Wow.
Full circle. um, so there's a few things that are kind of interesting in the world. I ran into one midweek, but um I think we already talked about maybe
Yeah,
this,
I think
but
we did because it hasn't been officially announced. There's been some leaks that around the new version of Creality Slicer, which I think is Akira kind of knockoff,
oh yeah,
isn't it?
for
Yeah,
sure it
yeah.
would be.
So in there, now and I'm not sure if they're now knocking off bamboo or not bamboo, but what's the blanking on the name of the other one that's bamboo esque, but it's the Prusa clone
Oh,
Orca.
yeah. Now,
Yeah,
I almost forgot too.
yeah. So I'm not sure if they either way. In there was reference to a Creality K2.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if it's a K2 or the K2 plus. But in a Reddit stream. They were talking about it, and I think we mentioned it on the last show. I just learned a little bit more about it.
Yeah,
So the 10-year anniversary of Creality is on the, I want to say, the 9th. Does that sound right, David?
I think that's pretty darn close if it's
Yeah.
not right.
So the 9th, they're having a big shindig, and they're announcing
A
a
shindig.
variety of new printers.
Hmm.
And one of them will be either the K2 or the K2 Plus. Not sure what they're calling it yet.
Something.
Rumor has it that it's multi-material. I think Ray mentioned this last week that he had heard something about it.
Hmm. Well,
And
we
so we
know
don't
that.
know. So that would mean that there's potentially a clipperized version of a Creality version of an AMS, maybe,
Yep.
which would be kind of cool. So we'll have to wait and see. So that's something that's coming up. So
Hmm.
thought that was interesting. I thought we'll just mention it because so we don't really have any full details yet. But a couple days and we'll have more info. So next weekend we can probably talk about what was actually came out of this anniversary event, if there's anything um, groundbreaking or whatever, or
Yeah, I mean, of course,
industry
everything's on
catch upping.
sale
I
too,
don't know.
right? Sales are good for the soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
they have the new um Falcon 2 Pro
Yep.
laser
And then
engraver, which is the exact same as the Falcon, but it has
it
like
has
the
a new
safety shield
enclosure.
around it and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
which is
That looks
good,
pretty cool.
but I mean, I like mine too. So,
Yep.
like the 10 thing was just
And
fine.
it's
So,
what, a 40-watt diode laser?
the Pro comes in a 40. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get 20. It's the same. You can get 22 or 40. So,
Yeah. So
you
so that's
pick.
kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
everything's on
you
sale.
said yours works really well, right? Cuts
Oh,
through.
yeah.
You've been using it like crazy.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a good laser cutter, engraver thing. Yeah, it works very, very well. Um, it looks like they're selling like um new laser modules too for like the new form factor of their hot end. So you
Oh,
could just like slap that on.
nice.
So that's kind of cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
the I guess the anniversary, like Greg said, is going on now. The sale
Well, yeah,
for it.
the sale, but
Yeah.
the full on announcements of new products and stuff like um like they fully redesigned the Ender uh Ender 3 V3. So
Hmm.
it's a core, we talked about that. It's Core XZ,
Yeah.
which is interesting but different.
Interesting choices. I mean,
Um and so it has a
okay.
totally different frame and whatnot. So
Hmm.
which was the Ender 3 V3 there that came out before this one.
Yeah.
We had one at our last session that we did,
Hmm.
and you got to play with it more than me, but you said the setup was pretty slick.
Yeah, like on those V3s, when you set them up, you just push a button that says, I want to set up my bed offset. And then it just does it. Like, you don't have to interact like at all with the printer. It just is, it uses, it has to use some sort of trinamic homing. And then there's the probe. So I don't, it's, um,
But it was slick.
it was like, it was something you could give to a beginner finally, like, and truly say like you could print within 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
because there was no adjustment on the bed at
yeah,
all, because it was silicone kind of stoppers and stuff, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
so that's kind of cool. So yeah, so we'll see what else comes out of that event. Next up, I guess we got new versions of Prusa Slicer. It's 2.7.4.
And boy, does it
Uh,
work just great. It
well, it worked. I don't know. It,
does. I've been using it for like 4 days.
it works
Yeah,
fine.
it's
Like
it's Prusa Slicer.
honestly, I've just because I've been doing so much printing on a bamboo in ABS. Like most of my printing for the last week was getting all the this is the part of the Trident, boron Trident. I've printed all the parts I need to build a Trident. So
Forget what the Trident one is.
Trident is basically it used to be the Voron 1.8, and then instead of calling it 1.9, they renamed it to Trident.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
slightly different. The Voron 2s use the belts, whereas the Voron Trident uses the tri lead screws.
got it.
So it's very similar. So the whole um, print head mechanism moves up and down, and the one the bed drops.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's 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 six of one, half dozen of the other. They're the same but different.
same, but different.
So yeah, that's on my to do list is. So I gotta say the we'll talk about it later
Yeah,
because
we'll
we
talk
got
about
some
that
other
in a
stuff.
second, right? Too.
Yeah,
Um, the thing. So just circling back on the Bruce Slicer thing here a bit. Yeah, I've been using the update. It works fine. Um,
yep,
the thing that I wanted to, you mentioned it that you had been using Bamboo Lab Slicer, so I was trying it too.
yeah,
I downloaded Bamboo and I downloaded Orca.
yeah.
Um, and I tried both, and let's just say using the default profiles in Bamboo Lab did not work out very well for me on third-party printers. It was really
Well,
bad.
well, I had a different experience,
Well, yeah, but
but
that's not third party, right?
I'm also using a bamboo printer
Yeah, that's what I'm
temporarily right
saying,
now.
right?
So, and I got to say the default profiles very good.
Well, on the Bamboo, but it makes sense. So, like, when you
Right?
think
If
about
they
like
don't
Prusa
have that
Slicer,
dialed in, yeah, if they don't have that
yeah,
dialed in for their own printer, there's a problem.
think about Prusa Slicer when it first came out. It was rough around the
Oh,
edges when it came
but
to third party printers.
third party profiles in Prusa Slicer are very solid now, like really solid.
Yeah, I'm
Like
part of.
I very rarely tweak them except maybe my number of perimeters and stuff like that, and top
Mhm.
and bottom layers, and maybe some filament heat.
Yeah, and like part of the, I guess, magic sauce for Prusa Slicer is they do have full in from like community profiles
Yes.
too, and not that like Bamboo actually, since it's like a fork of two-ish things, it's like they technically could call for public. It's just it's so new at this time. Um, the other thing
Well,
too is since
yeah,
Bruce has been around for a long time. And Kira, we'll bring Kira into it because we're coming
yeah.
up on that too. But like they've been around so long that like printer profiles for like the original Ender 3 aren't uncommon in
That's true.
right. But when you look at Bamboo Labs, try to add just an Ender 3, you can't. It's
Well,
revisions and
and
stuff
yeah,
like that.
it really depends because um some printers are unusual. Like this one back here, Bumblebee. It's it's got profiles in some slicers, but not all of them. So
So are we getting an AI slicer?
I
No.
I guarantee you someone's gonna market a new feature now with AI,
But
right?
the like
Like
the what is it gonna do? Like when you think of what a slicer does, it doesn't need AI involvement
well
at all.
well, it maybe there might be a better way to like if it analyzes enough slicing, it might see a more efficient way to slice a model,
Are you saying
right? Like
Clippy for Prusa slicer?
maybe
I agree with that. I think like it, they might use it in like not in the actual slicing engine, but
to
in the
improve
preparation
algorithms.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it could say like, oh, you know what? Maybe you should use 0.18 instead of 0.2 because your resolution would
Ray,
look better,
Ray says they're already using AI, and they might be, but I don't know that it's you know a lot of times people say, "Oh, AI this, AI this." Well, they also said smart home this, smart home that, and then they said like, you know, uh, crypto this, crypto that. Like it's whatever the buzzword is they throw in. So whether
right?
they're fully implementing it or not, it depends. Like, I mean, I could see taking the slicing portion that figures out your
Right.
paths and whatnot,
Yeah,
and have it really optimize some of that.
yeah.
Um, but it also has to take into account a lot of other stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, like so Ray says generating auto supports. Um I
That's
can't read the
algorithmic.
comments. That's
I
the
don't.
thing.
I
So AI is there's a standard definition that you have to follow, and like an algorithm is something that can work over and over at the same process, right?
Yes.
So like
Whereas
supports.
AI is different.
Yeah, AI will take an algorithm and use it to its purpose, but it will process the request differently every time. So
Yeah.
that's like why large language models work
Yeah.
the way they
Yeah.
do,
And
right?
they use tokens that they have generated from analyzing lots and lots of input data, right?
Yeah,
So it's not going to, oh, this is how you do it. It's looking at all these tokens it's generated from everything it's learned, and then it's going to generate something new each time. So it's a
yeah,
AI is different than an algorithm quite a bit, whereas a lot of people are marketing algorithms as AI, which
yeah.
it's not the same thing.
And like
But to a layperson, it is.
and the thing it's very close, and that's the thing, right? Like the definition is so close between um a simple process like generating supports and AI. Like um if you, for example, if you were to take a model and just go open and then your slicer did everything for you and then all you had to do is click save, right?
Right.
Like doing all those
Or send to
processes
printer or
together,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be more
Yep.
an artificial intelligence than like tree supports are smart, don't get me wrong. They're like, but that's an algorithm. I did find one slicer that says it has AI, and it's by a company called Accurata.
Okay.
Um, and they
A
make
household
dental.
name.
Yeah, they do dental stuff. So their
Yeah.
printers are for dental resins and that. And they're it's basically we tout it as a one click thing. You click open, it does everything, and then it's done for you, and you don't have to
Dom
worry.
Dominic has a thing. How about an interface to convert a slicer profile from one slicer to another? That would be not a bad use of AI to analyze what a typical output of one profile from one slicer is, and then taking one from another and being able to accurately convert it,
Yeah,
I guess, for your profile settings. So that would be an interesting use case. Yeah.
I
So
think like that's something that would just be, yeah, like you say, like great in general.
yeah,
AI could handle that workload pretty easy. It's we're in this weird phase of everything being AI, right? AI
yeah.
popcorn maker. My dishwasher said it had AI.
Oh, my friggin' washing machine from like 4 years ago says it has AI. You put your
Yeah,
phone to it and it detects if there's a problem.
like that's not
Like,
AI.
it's
That's
not AI.
you're just taking air
You're
quotes
just you're
from
just
the
marketing.
yeah.
Some marketing guy. Well, we need to put AI in this. Okay, we'll put
Would
the
you just
words
say
AI.
AI already? Gosh darn.
Yeah.
Um, but so I guess back on track, maybe. AI is a thing, but Bruce's Slicer doesn't have it yet.
I,
um,
I I don't think any slicer truly has it yet. I think some of the guys that are working on parts of the slicer are going to use it to optimize code and maybe optimize um, some of the results so that they can
Mm-hmm.
then integrate those optimizations into the browser or the slicer. Is what I think will happen, and which is a great thing. Like if you're improving stuff, and you can, there might be leaps and bounds of improvements that we don't even realize we need yet. So, yeah.
I don't know what happens when you ask an AI if there's AI slicing for 3D printing. Because I just did it. Let's find
Hey,
out.
Hilge, how you doing?
Hey, Helge.
So, moving on a little bit. So, so we talked that Creality may have multi-material and stuff coming out. Um, there was a tease, David. You said you referenced a Twitter link
Oh, you're
to.
skipping stuff. Okay, hold on.
Well, I'm not skipping stuff. We
We,
talked about Kira,
no, we didn't. We're talking about Pusa.
and then we talked about Kira, didn't we?
We didn't talk about the thing.
Okay.
Why
Well,
it's
let's
on the
talk about.
list.
Okay, let's talk about the thing, and then we'll move on.
Okay. I'm going to share a screen, maybe. And if it's the wrong screen, I'm really sorry. Okay, so um we put Kira on the list not because of the slicer so much, although there is a new version of Kira out. So if you want to try version 5.7, go for it. It works pretty well. I was using that this weekend too. But the big thing is on Thingiverse. So when you find a model and then you pick the files link, it used to be you just downloaded it, right? But now with the new version of Kira, you can click open in Kira and it opens Kira, which
Which
opened on
is
my other screen. You
which
can't
is
see it.
exactly what, if you go to the Maker World and then you click on a model, you can have it open in Bamboo Studio directly.
So
Does the same thing,
here's
and
the
and
silly thing though.
you know it's like, okay, so which is kind of cool because it loads a full profile and everything
Yeah.
with the Bamboo one. I'm not sure if this one
Uh,
loads like all the profile settings or
oh
not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if I just have an ender in this one right now, but yeah, it'll load
No,
up
but
as
like, is it loading yours or is it loading
it's
some
loading. It's loading
presets that
mine.
they recommend? See, and
No, no.
that's where Bamboo, the way it works is
So
it'll load all the presets that was successful for the person that put the profile up,
and the
which
one
is kind
thing
of
that
neat.
I'll say is this is another person that doesn't know how to
Orient the
100%
model.
orient the model when they release it. So we'll turn it. Um, there is a feature that was added in this version of Kira as well that lets you, instead of save it as STL on the site, which this one is, right? So this was a cable organizer STL. Um,
3MF.
well, it's not a 3MF. It's like a
Oh,
Kira and project file, and then it will open up settings and like best slicer and all that stuff.
oh, okay.
So then it works similar to that. But
Yeah, so Bamboo does that through a 3MF file. And
yeah, and so does Prusa.
and Prusa now allows the Bamboo 3MFs to be ported in with the proper settings for like painting and a painted model
Oops,
and stuff like that.
oops. I'm clicking all the screens, guys. Here you go. Yeah. Let's go back to this one. But so that's Kira. Like the new feature that was
Well, and
kind
you
of
already
missing.
had a quick click through tease of the next thing.
I know I was transitioning for you.
Well, you can transition now.
Ah, hold on. I'm trying to see the chat better. There we go. Kachel said something and then I couldn't read it. Kira seems to be slightly slower to slice the new version.
Yeah,
Um, it's bloated. It's
it
always been that
it
way.
kind of goes in cycles. It's happened with Prusa, and then they have to optimize it too. So I think all of them go through cycles where they add something new, and it's not as efficient as it used to be. So hopefully they'll squash that bug in the next point release or something.
Squish squish.
Dominic had a good thing about the AI. He needs a jar that tells him when to throw his mayonnaise away.
What does
Um,
two ads
Do-
mean?
Dominic, just so you're aware, there is a label on there that tells you when to throw it away. There's a little number. It's like the best before date.
I'm like really confused. And then I read the mayonnaise thing and I'm like, oh, I get it. Good thing it's free. Yeah, like I, for the amount of time that it's been around, you would have think there'd be an optimization update.
I
Just
think that there has been over time. There's been a few versions where they did improve like performance because remember there when they I don't know if it was when they put the arcane engine in it or whatever it was, the the
arachne.
arachne engine. um it was really sluggish for a bit, and then they had to optimize it. So it's probably something like that. It's a new version, so they'll a point release will fix
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully.
it. Dominic says the date's never accurate.
that's that's why we've all been gifted noses. Has this mayo changed? Yep.
Mm. All
Oh,
right.
I'd be lost. So, um, let's see here. Screen disk
So
and
any cubic, and
boom.
it, uh, and David found this one. This is kind of interesting. Has says there's a big change coming,
Big
and
change.
it's kind of interesting that it's on the heels or just before there's the big Corelity announcement, but obviously there's been a lot of back end collaboration going on because everyone now since Bamboo came out, like what is it, a year and a half ago,
Mm-hmm.
year ago, whatever, with their AMS. Now everyone's getting on the AMS ish like bandwagon. So we can see from this little teaser image, it looks very AMS ish with the printer beside it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um, but having a full on Clipper supported AMS
Mm-hmm.
would be awesome. Then you just imagine if you could just buy that AMS accessory for a reasonable price from one of these manufacturers and just integrate it into your mainsail or fluid
Yeah.
uh, implementation, and just add it to your printer config, and away you go. That would be
It's
awesome.
and I think like if we looked at so I grabbed this frozen one up as well.
Well, and that's the other one. So we got Frozen, we got Creality. Everyone wants to be in the game now, right?
When you looked
So,
at the frozen kick,
yep,
um, let's see here if I can find it. Yeah,
that the official Kickstarter. You're
yeah.
looking at, yeah,
Frozen kick starter. Starter.
Kickstarter.
Starter?
Dar, 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 dar.
Starter. Yeah, so when you look at the actual kick, because this is another company that's an actual company that used Kickstarter, I'm not sure if their campaign is still open, or not. Maybe. But
It normally says
when you look at this one, there was one that you could just buy. Um, like
all
they had
gone.
the multi-material listed separately from the printer at one point. You could, yeah, the pledges are all over. So like they, it almost looked like they had a roadmap for you just to buy the the thing.
What do they call it? So I think it's going to be the Creality multi-material system, and then there's going to be, I don't know what the any cubic multi-material system. That's too close to AMS.
I mean, somebody should call theirs
uh,
the dragon.
yeah, I don't know.
I want to see that, like just like, or the subdued puppy dog. They call it the chroma kit. That's what this one's called.
The Chroma Kit. Okay,
Chroma
well,
kit.
all right. Chroma Kit sounds cool.
So I mean,
That's
there's
at
that,
least they got a name that's a little more
right?
unique.
It doesn't quite
Uh,
look like this one that's underneath a blanket that says big changes. Um, but
So and then you said you that Dominic is talking about the chameleon, and
yeah,
you said you were interested in that to maybe get one for yourself.
yeah, like the chameleon's an interesting product. It's been around for a while.
Yeah,
Chris's
so it's
basement just got the Mark IV.
Yeah.
to play with. So that's the new one that was launching in April. Um, but for those that don't know what it is, here, chameleon. Most people know what it is. Um, but like it's a, is that big enough? Is that big enough?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there. Look, it's bigger now. So this is the Chameleon. It's a multi-material system. You get it. It has the stepper drivers. There's a cutter that you can order for it and stuff like that. But it
Mm.
produces 3D, multicolor 3D prints, just like everything else can. Um, I don't know as for like the speed and the quality. All the ones that I've seen look okay, but the kicker with this one is it's like $200.
Yeah.
So that's why lots of people have it on their radar.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
so like we could talk about the elephant in the room a bit before we talk about the next thing. But like when you look at multi-material, we bought a bamboo or not bamboo. We have a pallet. We have the Pallet Pro 2S or something. It's the
Yep.
Pro version and it's the 2S. And we went to use it the other day and discovered that we couldn't access the uh I forget what they called the little Raspberry Pi that they sold, but we couldn't actually use it because we can't actually get into like reset it or get any of the network settings. It was basically dead to us in the water. So then it was
And
like,
yeah,
hey, let's go
we'll
because
put it on
yeah, we'll make
Octoprint.
our own. And
Yeah.
Octoprint had a plugin for Mosaic, and you put it in,
At
and it
one point.
worked fine. We used it. It was called Canvas, and it was great. Doesn't work anymore, especially on a Raspberry Pi 4. So like the last version that came out was for a really old version of Octoprint now, and for the Raspberry Pi 3, not the 4. So the plugin doesn't know how to actually run anymore.
Yeah,
So
it's sad that a company now they're making more industrial stuff now.
well, they have the
Um
Palette 3, which is the
yeah, but that's
same.
still a number of years old. Like that's still like
Yeah,
the
but
Palette 3 is probably
it was
2 years old now.
20, no, older than that. It was,
Maybe oh yeah, well either way it's a number of years old. So and
yeah.
I don't think they even support that anymore fully.
One,
So
they've
so
moved
it's
towards
frustrating
printers,
when a
right?
company just abandons their product. Like if you're going to like stop support, open source it.
And I
Allow the
mean,
community to be able
if we're
to
wrong,
use
by
it.
all means, somebody correct us.
Yes,
Like, if we're
absolutely.
wrong, I'd
If you
love to
know
know.
if you know a way to resurrect it, that'd be
But
great.
like the actual palette itself is working fine as
Oh
a
yeah,
filament splicer.
it even
There,
has all the upgraded cutters.
yeah, right. Yeah, they sent us the upgrade kit after, but the actual uh it work like the slicer works still. It's just we have no way of communicating, so you'd have to like slice it, download it, and then just pop it right into the palette to be clear, and then it would work fine still.
Maybe.
Maybe. But the nice part about it was you could do all the stuff easier with their, and I forget what the thing was, but
Oh, it's their you mentioned it earlier the name,
yeah,
but it's the same name
Canvas
as
Hub.
yeah, the Canvas Hub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and Greg's right, like they that company's gone hard into industrial.
Oh yeah, they
So they
have
sell like
big
the
time.
array and element, but
I, and great. I'm glad it's a Canadian company. I'm glad they're successful.
oh yeah,
But
I'm glad they're
I,
not
I
under. It's
it
just
would it would have been nice to still have support for their other products.
hmm.
So
And and Dominic says like I think the comedian just uses slicer commands. It for sure does. So you just have to put in layer change and uh other logic for when the colors change into it. So um Hell says something that's really small again, and I can't see it.
so he says he totally agrees that if no longer anyone wants to support it, make it open source so someone else can.
Well, and I agree with that. I mean, it wouldn't have been hard for them to keep up the plugin.
It's a plugin. Like
Like
it's
literally,
like
it would have been like a couple lines of code, and it would have been fine. So,
yeah.
but I digress. So those are there's the new multi-material wave coming. Though,
Oh, there
brace
is,
yourself,
and
multi-materials coming.
and we'll I guess we can transition into my impressions of the bamboo so far, and we can
Hmm.
start talking about multi-material and whatnot. So I did a ton of ABS printing on it, and I just did the glue stick. So you can see there's some glue stick on the back of this one still because I haven't washed it yet
Hmm.
and cleaned it off. But the printing, yeah, let's see if I can add some more light on this. Um, is amazing. Like the quality um, is very very good. So I printed out a whole bunch of parts for Voron
Hmm.
um, in ABS. Just I did blue and black, and I used I believe the black was from Spool 3D.
Hmm.
And then the blue is blue we got when we ordered some other ABS. We bought black, but we black, green,
Red, blue,
purple,
purple.
and blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ordered a number of colors of the eSun ABS Plus,
Hmm.
and that one with the default profile. Again, I was only using default profiles from Bamboo Studio, and wow, did they print ever really great. So I did a lot of ABS printing, no problems. It has a heated chamber, this model, and whatnot. I had one fail because I didn't put glue stick on the edge of the build plate, and it put one of my objects right near it, and it warped. But that was my fault. I think I was trying to put too much on the plate, kind of thing. So that was the only real failure there.
Hmm.
And then I did multicolor printing. So I don't know if you want to go to the screen share that we had.
Oh, probably. One second.
So
Drag screen.
these little dragons, they're in kind of spiral colors. Um, I thought were pretty cute, so I wanted to try them for my first multicolor print. They took 19 hours to print
Hmm.
with color changes, and this bag here, if you want to go back to the regular
I
screen,
don't know. Your capture's not coming up.
it didn't come up.
Oh, you shut it
The
down.
share.
That's why. Okay, now it's back up.
Okay. Well, I did these two little dragons. But if you want to go back to my regular screen,
Dang it. Back and forth with this guy. Sorry.
so we had the waist tower, which I left everything at defaults because I wanted to get first impressions and in printing. I didn't go through any optimization. So we do have a print tower, a wipe tower, I guess, right here.
Hmm.
We have the prints, which turned out really well. I'm gonna take one to work so David can have one. So he turned out really, really well. Couple little wisps, but other than that, so I printed two side by side as you saw with the slice. But
Hmm.
this bag here is the poop for those two little models. It weighs more than that. So I did a little short
Hmm.
so that people could
He's
see
got the
it.
paper, people. He's got the paper.
So the poop was 214 grams, or for freedom units, 7.55 ounces.
Units.
Um,
Uh,
for the purge block, 34 grams for the weight of this purge block. Now, keep in mind if you did even more of the little dragons, the purge block would be the same size and the poop would be the same amount. So you can optimize things. But that 34 grams or 1.2 ounces. And then the actual prints, these two prints were 42 grams for both of them
mhm.
together, or 1.5 ounces. So the total material used was 290 grams, or 10.2 ounces.
So,
So
what was the total waste again? Sorry, between the poop and the tower?
so the poop was 214 grams and 34 grams. So it's what
1045
40 40 248 grams of waste uh,
to 48
ver,
grams.
for a 42-gram print.
It's great. I love those
So
odds.
now I was given tips on how to optimize it, but again, I wanted to first impressions of the quality, and the quality is amazing. A non-painted model. It's got little black nails down here.
Hmm.
It's got the black and white eyes and the yellow, and it like when you see it in person, David, it's impressive. It really is.
Hmm.
Um, so things to optimize. So overall, the printing of this machine is great. I had it stop on me a couple times because I didn't realize the waste was piling up at the back, and there's a little sensor that senses whether the poop got flushed, and it didn't trigger. So it's like, hey, you need to check the chute. Check check to see if we're backed up, and we were. So I had to kind of clean that, and then it continued. Like there was no, like, all of the errors and pauses I've had on this um were valid and continued and printed fine. Like I ran out of filament of one color, so then I had to tell it to use a different filament and whatnot. So it worked. It worked really well. I'm not, like, they've really got the system down and made it very work really well. So things that I've learned that you can optimize. Ray has said that you can actually turn off the wipe tower in the slicer. So if you don't want to use the wipe tower and you just want to use the purge, you can do that, and then you're saving, at this point, 34 grams, which is a quite a bit of savings, really. Um, the other optimization you can do is print more objects of the same thing so that your waste amount is going to be about the same.
Yep.
So that's another tip.
That's the
And
thing on
then
resin printers too. Hmm.
yeah, and then the other option you can do is if you print another object that's the same height as the object you're printing, you can say that object you selected on in the slicer is where your purge is going to go into. So if you
Hmm.
don't care about the color of that object, one person suggested fidget toys. But like, let's say you have
Hmm.
a functional print and you don't care the color of it, you can select that. So then it's not going to purge all of this out of the back, and you're going to actually then make another object. Because the way it works is, I'm just going to grab a little so you've got, if this is your heater block right here, and you've got this much of material in here that's being melted, right, and then going to come out the nozzle. What they do is they take a knife and they cut it right here, just in the cold zone. So
Hmm.
they cut it right there, and then they pull back. So none of the material that's going back through the MMU, or sorry, MMU, the AMS, um, when it's pulling the filament back, it's not pulling a blob of melted material. It's actually got a cutter that cuts the filament clean, so that when it's pulling it back, it's pulling back virgin filament the whole way. So there's no chance of a blob or something getting into the AMS and blocking it. So then when it brings back the next bit of filament, it has, that much filament, let's say, that it needs to purge out. So then it'll go to the back, and then that's where you get, your poop, where it's like purging out a certain amount of filament to transition from one color to the other and get the new material in the melt zone. So having it go into another model, if you don't care the color, number one, you're not wasting plastic, you're putting into something that usable and whatnot. So you can also change the amount of purge it does. Ray was saying that he typically puts the block in place if there's a lot of white, and there was white in this. The eyeballs had white,
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of optimization you can do to reduce the waste. You're never going to eliminate the waste in any of the multi-material systems, whether it's the Chameleon, whether it's the any cubic AMS or the any of them, because there has to be a purge so that you don't have, let's say, you switch from black to white, and now instead of the white being white, it's gray for a while until it goes white.
Mm-hmm.
The other optimization is you can also purge into the infill. Teaching Tech had a good one on that, and he found that it wasn't as great as on a smaller model. A larger model, it might be more optimized, but on the smaller models, when he was doing his testing, it didn't help as much because there was not enough time to change the color within the model to really clear out the material. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well,
Let's see if there's any questions in
there
chat.
was two interesting comments here
Sure.
that just happened. One was Dominic that says, if you plan to paint it, there's painting. And then Ray says, but that defeats the whole purpose of multicolor printing is to paint it. And it's
It's true.
interesting because no, obviously, yeah, it's true. But um, for Ray, right, and people that multicolor print, if you print in bulk and you are going to mass produce like those Pokemon behind you
Right.
to take to a craft fair,
Right.
there's no way of that. So like if you're to fill your print bed with say like 10 of those, the time to paint the model after versus printing in a multi-color material and then losing say $5 of filament and purge, there's no way that you could do that in the same amount of time as painting it.
Now keep in mind, two of these took 18 hours, and I had X amount of waste. Even if I did all the optimizations and had another thing on the print bread to put the waste into and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and I increased the number of these, you're still going to increase the number of hours you're printing, right?
It's true. It's not
Right.
like
So
a
so it's not,
SLA, right?
if I did this single color, and I printed one of these, I could probably print it in no time on this thing. Its single color printing speed is fast, like fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very impressed with it.
And then
Um,
another interesting comment made by Raymond, too, is, but while your printer's doing that, you could be doing something else, which is also true.
oh, absolutely.
However,
Yeah,
I guess it depends on where you find your value in the whole process, right? Is your value the time that it's taking to paint is taking away from you running your laser burner or making other things to produce or fabricate, or is your time, well
and
spent other places?
and typically this is not going to be your first printer for most people. The bamboo, you know, enough people in the industry have had printers for a while, so they probably have two other printers, and then they're buying this and for specifically for doing a multicolor print.
Mm-hmm.
So having it tied up for 18 hours doing, or 20 hours or 30 hours or whatever, doing, like this was a fairly fairly complex print. um, but if you're doing like some keychains and stuff, they're going to be a lower profile print, and it's going to go faster to a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how many color changes you're doing. So,
Right. And like we started our investigation into multicolor, multi-material printing when we got the palette.
yeah. Well, you
That
did the
was
Batman. I don't remember how long it took.
the Batman printed. It was 20 some odd hours,
Yeah.
and it was I
and
forget
he'll
what the purge was, but it was like 5 times. I think the purge
yeah
tower weight was 5 times
yeah
the
yeah
model weight.
yeah it was crazy. It was so Hild had earlier said that like it's one of those things where we have to get used to the new norm if we want multicolored printing is things are printing slower again, right?
Yeah.
We got faster printers now, but now we're doing more complex things, so it slows down again. If you look at standard computer laser printers, for example, you know, I remember when a black and white laser printer page, you know, was amazingly fast compared to a dot matrix.
Hmm.
But if I look at a black and white laser printer now, you know, before it was like, I think it was 3 pages per minute
Hmm.
or something. And now it's like 30 pages or 50 or 60 pages per minute in black and white.
Hmm.
Now, color slows it down. Well, originally color laser printers were, you know, did slow it down. Now it's amazingly enough, inkjet printers are as fast as laser printers. It's one of those things. The speed will improve
Hmm.
as the technology comes, and seeing all of these other companies like Anycubic and Frozen and Creality now coming out with multi-material, multicolor, which has been around. Like, because I mean, we've had the what's the Prusa one called?
The MMU.
MMU, right? We had the MMU first, and then we had the palette, and then we had the enraged rabbit, I believe, right?
Hmm.
Which is the open source version. Ray, correct me if I'm wrong. The open source version of an MMU.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah.
so it's we're still in early days, but you can see now that these companies are latching onto it, it's getting to a more mature state.
Well,
So we're
and
gonna
there are advantages to that poop bag, um,
Mhm.
as well, because you see the
Pardon me.
proliferation of more open platform filament recovery systems that could use that junk, the poop bag,
Right.
and
I think,
you
and
can reclaim it.
yeah, and I think some people had rightly pointed out is bamboo's being a little conservative because they want their prints to look amazing. So they're purging more material probably than they need to make sure that the transition in color is perfect,
Well, and I
right?
think that's every multi-material thinger out there is if they're gonna err on the side of caution than rather being
Oh,
just right,
absolutely.
right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean, because people they're going to get complaints if someone has bleed through, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I totally understand that. So
yeah, like
Ray
uh,
said, but that 18 hours that you could be doing something
we already
different. Yeah,
used that.
yeah, you did that.
Yeah,
But you're right. He's right. Like that's why we have multiple printers. You can be doing other things,
and
right?
Dominic brings up the point with tool changing and IDEX and multi-head printing. Um, it can be a solution. However, like even IDEX printers have wipe
Well,
on the side to start the next color or what have
and
you.
Teaching Tech did a good review of the Prusa multi-material 5 head printer,
Yeah.
and he could not get it to print for the first while
Mm-hmm.
properly because they had to ship them all with zero point 0.6 nozzles, and I don't know if there was a bug in their firmware or whatnot, but he could not get them to print for the life of him. He bought all zero point 0.4 nozzles for it, replaced all the zero point 0.4 nozzles and did all the optimization, and then he was getting good prints. So it's still early days for some of these with the different, you know, different systems and optimization and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think it's good. Um,
Yeah.
I do I think the 3,560 dollars or whatever it was for this thing.
The
Um,
expensive part of it, or
yeah, is it better than the regular one, the without non-heated chamber. Mm, I don't know if it's that much better.
It's
The
a
heated
tricky.
chamber for like if I think if you're printing like nylons or some of the more sensitive materials to moisture and whatnot, and warping and whatnot, maybe with the heated chamber, this one you could justify it, especially if you're a large business or a manufacturer doing prototyping.
Yeah,
Totally, you can justify it. Do I think a school could justify paying the extra for this model with the heated chamber and everything and whatnot? Not really. Um, do you? And I didn't even talk about the carbon filter and whatnot. It's larger on this one than the standard one. It has a HEPA filter and whatnot. You do still get some odor, so you can still, when it's printing ABS, you don't get near as much as you would normally, but probably still don't want to hang out in the room for like 4 hours while it's printing something, because you can definitely notice it. Um, doesn't go through the whole house or anything, but you definitely notice that there's an odor there. So it's definitely better than some, but yeah.
yeah. It's um again, it's it's an okay product for personal use. I think that they missed the mark on the enterprise version, especially where they didn't seek safety certification for the country of use. So like the where
Yeah,
if you're gonna sell an enterprise grade product, have it certified for whatever country it's going to.
yeah.
I think that would
I
be
think they thought UL's enough, but no, it
well,
isn't
no,
always enough.
they know it's not enough. That's the thing. Like,
It does have
um,
it has almost every other country in the world except Canada.
it's
So it
true.
doesn't have CSA. Um, it does have, so on the enterprise version here, there's you open up and you can turn off all network capabilities. There's also a removable, you can go and remove the Ethernet cable
Yeah, but
And the Ethernet
the
port so that you have absolutely no conductivity at all.
well,
So you could,
connectivity is one thing, but that's not going to start a fire.
no, I know, but for, if you, let's say you're a government organization, you're worried about Chinese spying, for example, you can remove all network connectivity from this, and you can use your Orca slicer or whatever else if you don't want to sign into Bamboo or use any of their
Hmm.
cloud-based products. So they have done, a lot to make this one more compliant to government agencies and whatnot to be able to sell it to them. Um, does that matter to me, a home user? Probably less, but
Well, again,
but
too, like it's great that they thought about, I guess, a kill switch for the Wi-Fi networking and that kind of stuff.
and the hardware Ethernet, you can
But like,
toggle
yeah,
both.
networking,
Yep.
yeah. But like the again the like there's also not joining the Wi-Fi and plugging it in that you could do with the other one, right? Like you don't need
Yeah.
to like a physical kill switch probably would be necessary in a military grade facility, um
Right.
but yeah, like it's a lot of printer for I don't think the bang for the buck is there for a private user for sure.
No.
But
No.
if you're a corporate person or a business
But
user,
it prints great. I gotta say, like, like,
Ferrari drives great too. You know,
yeah.
I don't have one of those.
That's debatable. Some people say other cars drive better.
Hey,
So
I didn't say it was the best. I just said it drives great.
yeah,
Like, and but that's the thing. Like this printer, it does what it is supposed to do. Um, and that's print
yeah.
multi-material and print it well.
I do like the comment that you responded to. Do you want to say it on air? The
But,
Star Trek one,
oh yeah, I mean, so Ray said pretty soon we'll have like a duplicator, it's just like Star Trek, and I'm like, well, they've been right about other things so far, so
right? And we're getting close. Like, when I was a kid, I always like, oh, it'd be cool to have the Star Trek replicator. That'd be so cool. Well, I mean, we're pretty darn close. And is it as fast? No, but we're early days. Like,
Well, we're
they
close to printing plastic things, but like the
right,
replicator, you could say like tea Earl Grey hot,
right,
you know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm gonna push the button. Thank some people here.
sure,
Thank you everybody that's on the list. How's at the top there, but thanks everybody else on the list here. You make the magic happen. If you want to check us out and join the Patreon, it's patreon.com/3D make it. You get onto the private Discord and get to have a lot of good discussion with the community and access us for help. That's how you can actually get to us. If you have issues and want some help with them. Um, but the other place you can reach us at here too is the 3dmakeit.ca. So all of our resources are there. Like, share, subscribe, of course. But
yeah,
we've come to the top of the hour, my friend.
yeah. And so hopefully next week we'll get back into the Clipper stuff.
Yep.
I've been distracted the last 2 weeks focusing on the bamboo because I had it in my hot little hands, so I had to use it. Uh,
Put Clipper on it. See how that goes.
Ooh.
Just
Well, they
kidding.
did
Don't do that.
crack it and did open source firmware. So,
Right.
but
But
thanks everyone for showing up and coming out. And we will. I think we have to do a live stream with our Patreons coming up. So,
yep.
not sure if
Hmm.
that's going to be next Sunday. We'll have to. David and I will talk about it and we'll post it and let everybody know.
Yep. But until next time, you guys stay frosty and have a good one.
Bye.